The Paul Leslie Hour, helping people tell their stories. And now, your host, Paul Leslie.
Hey, it's me. Hi, and welcome to the Paul Leslie Hour. Teddy Zig Zag Andreadis is a keyboardist, B3 player, a harmonica player, vocalist, and recording artist. He's worked with many artists and bands that you've heard of. He's performed or recorded with acts including Alice Cooper, Guns N' Roses, Carole King, Billy Bob Thornton and the Boxmasters, and many more. Sir, thank you very much for spending time with us.
My pleasure to be here, Paul. Thank you for having me.
You're obviously someone who has approached a lot of styles of music. Just listing those artists there. I mean, from Alice Cooper to Carole King. Could you say you have a preferred genre?
No, not really. You know, I'm not a big jazz guy. I mean, I can't play that style. So there's, we can leave that one out, I guess. But no, I mean, I go where people need me, I guess.
Interesting.
I enjoy it all. I mean, I've had the opportunity to do a wide range of styles and bands to play in and musical situations to be in. So, I'm happy.
Who would you say your influences on the piano are?
Oh, people like Dr. John, absolutely Dr. John, Professor Longhair, a lot of the New Orleans guys, James Booker. I love, I started playing Hammond organ because of Felix Cavalier of the Young Rascals, Jimmy Smith. But those are the guys, I love Tom Waits. I love his style of, barroom piano, Floyd Kramer, stuff like that. I mean, I can really appreciate guys like Cecil Taylor and McCoy Tyner, but I can't play like that. There's a whole new crop of piano players that are just so amazingly great. So, so that's it.
You just mentioned a second ago, Dr. John.
Yeah.
He was just such an incredible player and singer. We just lost him, as you know.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to meet him or see him in concert?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I got it. Yeah, I do. I've done the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. It's called. It's a camp. It's like a baseball camp for musicians here in Los Angeles, and I've been doing this since 2005. And we did one camp where it was a floating camp in New York, and he was one of the guests there. On my Facebook page, I actually had a photo of me and him, and I posted a bunch of videos on my Facebook page of Dr. John's music, and it was most of the things I posted was of him giving a tutorial of how he plays this stuff. So yeah, I've worked with him at the camp, and I've seen him many times, obviously, but huge, massive fan of his. A lot of people say, "Hey, man, you sound like Dr. John." So that's kind of a compliment.
Would we be correct to assume that you are of Greek descent?
I am. Yeah, my mother is from the island of Corfu, and my father was from the island of Samos.
Were your parents musical people at all?
Not really. My father sang opera, like sort of opera. So I like to say sort of opera, and he played the harmonica, the chromatic harmonica. But that's about it. A little bit of mandolin.
And you're from New Jersey?
Yes, I am. Born and raised.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what life was like for you growing up.
Growing up? Well, it was normal. Went through grade school, high school, and played football and, participated in sports, got into bands kind of in my early, I don't want to say, I mean, I played guitar back in well, actually, my first instrument is accordion. So I played the accordion at a very young age, with the lessons and my mother standing over me going, "Okay, you've got 1 hour." She'd put the egg timer down and practice for 1 hour type thing. Then I graduated to accordion and to a guitar, started some small bands, and then went through high school and playing in bands, tried the whole college thing out. But, I was so wrapped up in playing rock and roll music and just playing that I dropped out of college. Should have stayed, obviously, but I just went on the road and started playing. Then decided to move out to California, and that's where, I continued playing and started meeting people, and one thing led to another. And that was it. So, but I've always made a comfortable living playing music, so I've been lucky from that aspect.
When you moved out to California, was that something that was intimidating? Were you confident? How did that feel?
Well, I had no, I think a lot of us do it for those reasons. There was a girl involved, and I was going to go out to be with her type of thing, and then drive all the way across the country to find out, she's got a boyfriend now. I said, okay, now what do I do? But it was interesting. I came out with my brother. We just loaded my van up with my B3 and my bicycle and all the stuff that I had, and just I went for it. And then I thought, the first place I lived was in Newport, California, and my understanding was that all of California was like Newport Beach, California, and it wasn't. So I moved from town to town and played with some bands here and there, and then I got hooked up with an all Mexican, like a Tower of Power type band, and was living in their part of Los Angeles, which was Huntington Park, which was nothing like Newport Beach. And then somebody called me and said, "Hey, there's a band here at the Red Onion, which was a Mexican restaurant, and they were kind of a touring top 40 band." And played with them, joined them, and went on the road. And the rest is history, I guess.
Now, speaking of being on the road, is that hard? I mean, I look at your website, and it's just like
I travel all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I don't have children, so it's a little easier that way. But I mean, I have a wife, and we have 4 dogs now, 3 dogs. One of them passed away this week. It's a little bit tough as you get older, sure. But I'm playing right now. Well, besides playing with Billy, I also play with Walter Trout, who is a fairly legendary blues guy, and is really big in Europe, and tours a lot. And we just got off the road with we did a double bill with Johnny Lang. And so I got back. I got back on 3 days ago, and me and my wife are finally going to go on a long-needed honeymoon.
Nice.
To Antigua, yeah. And then we come back and we start rehearsals with Billy Bob.
The road goes on forever.
It really does. And it's the unfortunate thing about a city like Los Angeles. The gigs here they're not here anymore. A lot of these. The places that we used to play here in town have all gone away. So for a playing musician, it's a little bit tougher. People have moved out to Nashville and Austin, Minneapolis and stuff like that. But, as you get older, it's like there's other things you do. There's other things I've gotten into, recording and doing a lot of TV stuff and stuff like that. So there's always work, but there's not a lot of physical playing stuff left anymore. Unfortunately, for as big as the city is, you would think, Jesus, really? Anyway, yeah, that's what we're going to say.
Very unfortunate, yes. I'm hoping you can tell us a little bit about working with Walter Trout. Very respected blues guitarist, singer.
Yeah. He just asked me if I'd be interested in playing. And at the time, this was last year, the Boxmasters, we pretty much spend the year recording, making records, and then we tour pretty much just around the July, August, September months. So the rest of the months are just me, hopscotching around town, doing sessions and doing TV stuff. And so he says, "Hey, you want to go on the road?" Haven't done that in a couple of years, So, but yeah, sure. So I've been playing with him now since October, and it's fun. He's a good player. He's a lot of history with Walter. He played with John Mayall and Canned Heat, and so he's got quite a following. He's got a huge following, a massive following in Europe. I mean, we did the Paradiso in Amsterdam and sold it out 2 nights straight. It's like So I had no idea that he was that well liked or that well known in Europe. So I mean, then I come to find out he's got like 28 albums, and so he's been around a while. So, and he's a good guy, and it's a nice R&B kind of R&B rock bluesy thing we do. And he allows me to, I can take the time off when the Boxmasters are ready to tour. Unfortunately, it pulls me away from the Boxmasters when they're recording, because I miss a lot of the sessions sometimes. But they're nice enough to let me come in and put my parts down when I'm in town. So I don't get a chance to see them, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to. So, but we're gonna go on the road now in I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks here, and so we'll have a good time. We'll write a lot of songs on the bus, and it'll be like old times again.
We had not long ago J.D. Andrew of the Boxmasters on the show.
Sure.
He was talking about you, and he said, Teddy is always trying to come up with ideas to entertain the audience.
Well, I guess, I look at it like, my whole thing of playing live is, you want to give the audience something that they're not expecting, or something they'd be entertained by, so that's, that's kind of like where I come in with the Boxmasters. How about if we do this? What do we, instead of doing this here, let's put it here and then do this here type thing. So that's where I come in. And my mind's always working. But yeah, I've been with Bill. I've been with the Boxmasters. Well, I've been with the Boxmasters since inception. But I've been with Billy Bob since, well, I go by the set lists that I have because I keep them all. The first set list that I have for our first gig was in 2005. So that's how far back I go with Billy.
How did you come to meet Billy Bob Thornton?
I was, well, I don't know if JD told you, but he bought the recording of the house that he lived in before the house he lives in now. Was owned by Slash, and he bought the house from Slash, and I used to play in Slash's band. I used to play in Snake Pit and Slash's Blues Ball. I played with Guns, obviously. So we did a lot of work in this house. And Billy had come by to check out the house because it was for sale. And he saw the great studio and the engineer that was all ready to go. So that's how it came to be. And then while I was there, they asked me, hey, you want to play a couple tracks? And we got along really well, me and Billy. And I decided, that's time for me for a change. And I was playing, with Alice for a couple of years. And I was like, well, I liked Billy's. I loved Billy's new record, the Private Radio record. I played on every record except that one, which was the first record. So every record after that I was on, and I really liked his writing. I liked the type of songs that they were playing. And I thought, man, I could dig this. So I quit Alice and started up with Billy. And rest as they say. That's how I met him.
What would you say Billy Bob Thornton is like?
What is he like?
Yeah,
well,
what's he like?
That's a hard question for me because I look at him as a band guy. I have to remind myself so many times that he's an award-winning director, writer, does everything. The guy literally does everything. But to me, he's like, it's just my pal. Hey man, I don't like this, or I don't like what you're wearing type thing. It's like, hey, don't mess around, or let's go out to lunch. What are you doing now? That kind of thing. He's a great guy. I mean, he's a really prolific writer, obviously, and the combination of him and JD together, and then me with the sprinkling on top is a good combination. But he's always, he's a friend first. That's how I look at it. I always look at him as my buddy, my pal Billy Bob. And so, I mean, obviously he's amazing. What his body of work is pretty amazing, pretty cool.
Absolutely.
But as he started out as a musician. He was a drummer. And he still plays the drums on all the tracks, all the tracks we recorded, Billy's the drummer. I don't think we've ever. I'm trying to think. We may have had our drummer play the Boxmasters drummer play on a couple of tracks that we did out of town, but mostly everything we've ever recorded, Billy's on drums. Billy does all the vocals and writes all the lyrics and sometimes even the music. You know, he'll just he'll sing it to his voicemail when he gets an idea, or if we're on the bus, we sing into our phones, and he says, "Here, record this. I got an idea." And we get the sound of the bus generator in the background, and you take it home. You try to figure out what the chords are, but yeah, that's he's pretty amazing, man. He's always got some great ideas for songs and great lyrics. The lyrics are the most important thing. Boy, he comes up with some really great. The stories that he tells in those songs are really pretty amazing.
What do you think about this new album from the Boxmasters, Spec?
Oh, I love it. And Spec, it's great. I mean, how can it not be great? I mean, you've got Jeff Emmerich producing it, doing the mixes and stuff. The songs are great. I wasn't in on all the songs because I wasn't available, but the songs that I did play on, I'm pretty proud of them. We did have a listening session. What was it? About 8 months ago for a partial of the and people liked it. The people that heard it were really blown away. So I'm happy with the record. I'm happy with the way it sounds. Everybody should be proud of it. So all the albums that there's I don't think there's one record that Billy has made that any of us will go, man, that wasn't that good. Everything that comes out of it came out of Roxbury, that came out of A&M, Henson Studios, anything that we've done always sounds good. There's not a, I don't want to say there's no stinkers, so to speak. They're all really good songs, and therein lies also a problem too of what songs to pick for a show, because you can only do so many tunes, and we have a set list of like 300 or 400 songs, and which ones do you pick? So that always becomes kind of a problem, especially like for me, because I'm always like, oh, we're not doing this one. Oh, we got to do this one. Oh, come on, we got it. And Billy's like, Ted, calm down. We can only do so many songs. And yeah, but we got it. Yeah, we got to do this one. So that's the dilemma that you have when you're so prolific at writing. I mean, I've taken a handful of the songs and redone them for my little bands that I have, around town here. I go, well, this one would be good. This one would be good to do. So
interesting.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
In preparing for this interview, I listened to some of the songs that you've recorded yourself, and
okay.
I really liked your interpretation of "Friends in Low Places."
Oh, Friends in Love. That was for a Garth Brooks tribute record. Yeah, that was with a friend of mine, Lanny Cordola. We did that one, and we said, "Why don't we do it like as a second line tune?" And so, yeah, that one came off. But I did another one. What was it? It was a Springsteen one. Have you ever heard the Springsteen one? I did a version of 57 Channels by Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And again, it was on one of those tribute records and came off really cool. And we did it kind of as a slow, swampy thing with, box guitar and Jew's harp, and really cool. So I didn't know if you had a copy of my record.
I don't have a copy of it, but I listened to some of it online.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
On that note, though, of your own recording or performing, whatever, is there anything that you're dreaming about endeavoring, or there's a project maybe that you have in mind that you want to get going, or in the future you want to?
I have a project that there's two of the songs are on Spotify already. It's a band called Sugar House, and it's just myself, a bass player, and a girl singer, and pretty much do everything with loops and stuff like that. And after I went on the road, the band kind of fizzled out, And that's the unfortunate thing about going on the road. Is like that, you lose stuff that's happening in town, so you have to make that decision. What do I do? But I would have liked to have continued to have kept that going, or to spend a little more time with that project, because that was a really good thing. We really enjoyed that band. I mean, we really enjoyed doing those songs, and we had a whole backlog of material that never got recorded. So, somewhere down the line, maybe we'll get back at it. But
I'm hoping you can maybe tell us a story or a recollection of your time with Alice Cooper.
Well, I did the Brutal Planet tours and Brutal Planet and Dragontown tours. So it was about a 4 or 5 year stint with Alice. The guy hasn't stopped working. It's unbelievable to me. He's bigger now than ever. And I was playing with him. This is right before I joined Billy, so it would have had to have been almost 20 years ago. So he was still rocking it, just touring like he tours now. He's just nonstop tours all the time, and it was great. I mean, to play those songs, I don't know if you're an Alice Cooper fan, but a lot of his songs involve keyboards because of Bob Ezrin. Bob Ezrin was a keyboardist producer, and so to play a lot of those songs, you needed to have a keyboard setup. Now they don't do that anymore, unfortunately, because they've added a third guitar, so they kind of do it that way. But back when I did it, we did a lot of the keyboard-oriented songs. So for me, it was great. I mean, obviously, coming from Carole King background, where it was all keyboards. The Alice stuff was great. It was a whole different vibe, though. You not only were you playing the songs, but you were involved in a show, so to speak, type of thing, where, on this part of the song, this explosion is going to go off, or it's going to rain confetti, whatever, So you have to be aware of your surroundings, especially on some of these stages, because you weren't just playing music, and it wasn't just lighting. It was a theatrical thing that was going on. So you had to be constantly aware of stuff like that. Same with Guns N' Roses, pretty much. It's like you had to know when the flash pots were going to go off and when the compression bombs were going to fire off. So there was a lot of other things to worry about. It's great. I mean, how could you not like playing with Alice, though? I mean, those songs are such legendary pieces of our history.
And again, speaking of just legendary songs, when you're around someone like Carole King, is that at all intimidating?
It's so funny. Again, it was another situation where once you get to know Carole, it was like, she was like your best friend. She's like your next door neighbor. You can just go over and go, hey, what's going on? I was very intimidated to meet her because I was a huge Carole King fan. And so I, upon meeting her, was like, blah, 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 blah. Couldn't put two words together. But once we started traveling and recording, I mean, she would do everything the guys would do. She was always, she traveled with us, drank with us, did everything. She would invite us up to her ranch up in Idaho there. She would cook us meals. We would go, skinny dipping in her hot springs. It was like, she was like part of the family. And she still is, actually. My wife, who works for the Grammys, is very close with Carole and had worked for Carole in the offices for a while, and now is still tight-knit with her daughter Sherry, who manages her. So we still hear from Carole all the time. So,
has there been any artist that you shared a stage with or that you recorded with that you would have to say it was like a defining moment, like a, wow, I can't believe that I'm getting to be in the studio with this person?
Well, there's a lot of them because of the rock and roll fantasy camp. I pretty much have worked with everybody from Steven Tyler to Roger Daltrey to Todd Rundgren, Meatloaf, Robbie Krieger, the guys from the Doors, who was ever left. They're just, it goes on and on. Who's one guy that I got a chance to work with for a couple times, and I'm just always blown away with him, is Mark Farner. of Grand Funk Railroad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just an amazing ball of energy. Still has it after all these years. He's gone through some hard times, but he still has it, man. That guy's still unbelievable to me. To watch him perform, it's like, Jesus. Alice, same way. It's like the guy is, still nonstop. I mean, Carole. I got to tell you, Carole was the one that is the one that really was like, I can't believe I'm sitting across from her doing "You Got a Friend." It's like, how can you beat that? She'll look up at you when I remember one time I was playing with her and we were doing Tapestry, the song Tapestry. It gets me goosebumps just thinking about it, but it was just me and her. She was at the grand piano and I was at the other set of keyboards, and she'd look up at me while she was singing this song. Once I met he was sitting, I can't remember the lyrics, but she would always look up at me when she sang these lines, and it always just gave me the biggest thrill. Like, my God, that's Carole King. This is before Alice. This is before Guns. So this is almost 30 years ago. And she was making records, but she didn't have the fame that she's got now. I mean, she's always going to be legendary, but she's got the play now. And she's got books out. She's doing Kennedy Honors. Back then, we were just playing venues and stuff. We did Royal Albert Hall and stuff like that. But she's just elevated herself even more so nowadays into these centuries. And it's like, you go, and the fact that she still calls over here, she goes, "How you doing?" She'll just pick up the phone. "Hi, it's Carole. What are you guys up to?"
Very sweet.
We're not up to any. Well, yeah, it's incredible. That's exactly what she is too. She's like your. I hate to say your grandmother because she's not that. She's not that old. But it's like your next door neighbor that you go over and go, "Hey, I really need a cup of milk. Can you borrow some?" That's Carole. But yeah, there's, like I said, like with the rock camp and stuff, and playing with Billy. It never. When he had the studio in Roxbury, you never knew who was going to stop down. I mean, I remember one time looking up when I was sitting in the studio in the house, and I was listening to something. And I could feel somebody walk in the room, and I didn't. The person says, he goes, "Can I sit down next to me?" And sure. And I look over, it's Donald Sutherland. Or it was a Harry Dean Stanton.
Wow.
Yeah, or Billy Gibbons would always stop by. Tommy Aldridge was always stopping by. Kinky Friedman, that kind of stuff. So meeting a lot of Billy's people from his world and from his musical world. I mean, he's a really eclectic guy because he comes from two worlds that are two legendary worlds, the world of music and theater. So he's got a lot of cool friends, that's for sure.
Yeah. What would you say is the best thing about being Teddy Andreadis?
The best thing?
Yeah.
What's the best thing? I don't know. But that's a tough one. What's the best thing about being me? I don't know. I guess that I'm a good enough guy. I'm hoping that I've spread the love in the course of my life, and I've made people happy with music and being able to play, and just all around good guy. I guess I've never been asked what's the best thing about me. So yeah, I guess that would be it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, somebody can be very, very talented, and if they're a complete jerk, nobody wants to work with them.
Oh, I know that. I mean, I've come through a couple of those too. I mean, when I was working with Carole, I'll never forget the day she had hired Eric Clapton to come in and do a solo on one of the songs on the City Streets album, and we were in New York at what's the Hendrix studio? Oh shoot, I can't think of it right now. But we're all waiting around, thinking, what's this going to be like? The guy couldn't have been nicer. He walked in, didn't have a guitar or an amp with him, and he just says to the guy that was with him, his assistant, just go down to Sam Ash and pick me up a good Strat off the wall and a Fender Twin. and came back about a half an hour later, and he plugs in and plays, and you go, well, there it is. There's the sound. It's not his equipment, that's for sure. It's those fingers. It's his fingers on a fretboard. And the guy wouldn't take any money from Carole.
Wow.
Wouldn't take any money. He bought her a bottle of wine and said, no, it's my honor to be on your record. And bought her a bottle of wine, and we proceeded to go out to the China Club afterwards for drinks, and it's Eric Clapton. You're thinking, God, this is Eric Clapton. Why would he be a jerk? I'm saying, no, he's not. I mean, but there are. I've worked with. There are a handful. I don't want to really mention their names, but there's a handful that could have been nicer or could have related to the public a little bit. But I've come to learn that usually if they're the way that if they come off that way, it's for a reason, that maybe they're just tired, or they it's enough with the signing. And because people want, when you're a celebrity like that, when you're a big celebrity like that, people want a piece of you all the time.
Right.
They want a piece of you all the time, and they go, man, the guy wants to leave him alone. He wants to have a meal on his own. He doesn't, but it's a fine line. It's a fine line of, what do you do? Do you offend your audience, or do you embrace them? So, there's, I think the younger, the now celebrities are quite like that. I don't think the older celebrities are, in that same category. I don't know. I mean, I've been over the years. I've met so many celebrities that I'm kind of numb to it. So it doesn't, if they're that way, I go, well, whatever. It doesn't affect me. I crap and pay my bills just like everybody else, and so do they.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Well, I want to invite all the listeners out there. They can visit TeddyZigZag.com, TeddyZigZag.com. They can also check out theboxmasters.com.
Oh, yes. Get ready to come on tour.
Oh, yeah. And check the tour dates.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're all on the website. Everything's on the website. Buy yourself a T-shirt. Buy the record. Buy the older records. Buy everything you can, for God's sakes. That's what I say. Get yourself learned up on the Boxmasters, because there's some great material out there on the Boxmasters. And you know what? There's videos of the Boxmasters up there. There's a lot of songs that are floating around the internet. So, I mean, you could sit for at least an hour, 2 hours just listening to all the music that's out there from us. And we're proud of it. That's for sure.
I always like to close my interviews. I always let the guest take the stage. You just take the microphone. You can say whatever you want. We just never know who is listening or where they are. What would you say to anyone who's tuned in?
Anybody who's tuned in? Well, if you're tuned in today, it's Sunday. So if you're not at church, you're probably at breakfast, or that's where I should be right now. But, all I could say is enjoy your life. Enjoy the Boxmasters, put on some good music, and have a great day. Music is the key to our lives, I guess. That's how I look at it. Put on a good song and turn it up loud.
Well spoken.
Yeah. Tell Alexa to put on the best yacht rock she's got.
I really appreciate you spending time with us.
Oh, it was my pleasure, Paul. And I'm looking forward to listening to some more of your podcasts here.
Oh, well, thank you.
And you're out of Atlanta, right?
Yep, I'm in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I think, are we coming by there? I wonder if I don't have the schedule in front of me, but we may be. We did last year. We came by Atlanta.
You're not going to be in Atlanta, but I believe I'm going to take a little a little road trip of myself and catch you guys.
Oh, great. You going to come and travel with us?
No, I mean...
No, when you say that, because that happens all the time with us. We get like reporters that'll spend like 2 or 3 nights on the bus and to do a story on us. And then, of course, after the third night, they go running. Get me the hell out of here.
That might be cool sometime, but I was going to either come out to Nashville or come out to, I think you're going to be in South Carolina. And I thought, all right, that would be cool to catch a show.
Yeah. And, once you see the band, you see Billy and you see, you watch the interaction with you get a really good sense of what it's all about.
Yeah.
We've been doing this a long time. And we don't have a huge following, but the following that we have is really, they're very dedicated. They're a very dedicated bunch, and they come out and they bring us gifts all the time, and they make us things, and they bring us moonshine, and it's a great collection of people that are Boxmasters fans. So we're happy to go out there and give it to them every year. We look forward to this time of the year to go out to touring. Did JD tell you that we start the tour with like 16 or 17 in a row?
Yeah. No, he didn't say that, but I saw it. I thought, wow. Yeah,
isn't that amazing? I haven't done one of those, and I can't even remember when. But this will be a fun tour. I mean, there's not a lot. What's great about Billy? Doesn't like to sit around. Mm-hmm. None of us do. We don't like to sit around and do nothing. Obviously, when we're on the road and we're in a bus type of thing, you have to stop every 8 or 10 hours for the driver to sleep. That's what's legal. You can't. The drivers are not allowed to drive. So when we have to stop for that long, we have to find something for us to do, and we're usually at a bowling alley somewhere at some podunk town, just to keep ourselves busy. But if we don't have to have any time off, we'd rather be playing. So, and Billy's the same way. So, let's just play. Why do we don't need to sit around in our hotel rooms. We're out here. We may as well work. We may as well play. So that's what's fun. and it's a good, the good show. It's a good collection of songs. Billy always picks the perfect set list. So, it's going to be entertaining, to say the least. It's got its moments where it's a little bit down, and it's got its moments where it's really up, and always ends in a big flurry at the end, and it's good. We always come out and do the meet and greets and do the signings, so everybody gets a chance to touch us.
You and JD both seem to have a real fervor for the band, and that's very cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I was in Alice Cooper's band, and when I heard Billy's music, I went, man, I want in on this,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it takes it's been rough a little bit because, obviously we've gone through different record companies and stuff, and it's a struggle, but it's the music that keeps bringing you back. It's those songs, I always tell that to Billy too. I go, oh, you got another good one here. So, I mean, for guys in the band to say that,
yeah,
it's like, you could very easily just like, glad handed and go, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard, and not be truthful. But I'm, he's known it. I've told him many times, and so does JD. It's like, this guy's something to be really proud of here. So I'm happy to be a part of it. And, as long as I've been in the band, it's like it always gets better and better every time it's a new record, and every time there's a new theme, so to speak. When we went from the country thing, the country rock thing, to the '60s Beatles, that era thing, it was always cool. It was always really cool. So, and like I said, we don't have big followings, but the people that come out are just energetic enough and make it a lot of fun to be in front of an audience. Like that.
Thank you very much.
All right, Paul. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you. Anytime you want to talk more, you just let me know.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Until next time, sir.
All right. Well, you have a good day, sir, and good luck with everything you do.
And you too. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, Paul.
Have a good one.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Boo-bop-a-ree, boo-bop-a-shy, a-gee-na-pa-tee-la-la-ka-zee-ka-ba-boo, to-get-con, dig-it-ba-ta-go-leggy, ah-yeah, na-ka-shee-da-ba-da-ga-ka-suddenly walk-chee-chee-ga-long, take on some cat-top-doodly-ba-dee-ka-ba-tee-chee-chee-ka-mong, goodbye.